where what we have with sensation seems to be based on probability. Not a matter of certainty, but simply probability. If, for instance, we want to think of some general concept, some generalization, some general concept, then obviously any empirical generalization is going to be limited to probability tied to how large the sample that we've experienced. So you have probability there. And by the same token, he would think that causal arguments, inasmuch as the notion of causal power is at best a construct, causal arguments are at best probability arguments. And so that likewise leaves you with a lesser degree of knowledge. So the answer essentially is this. If it's not something you know immediately, intuitively, if it's not something that can be demonstrated from what is known immediately, then the only way you know that something is the way you think it is on the basis of experience. Probabilities are the best we have. Okay. And I think that's characteristic of this whole empiricist tradition, that if you want to know anything beyond present experience, you have to go to probability. Now the question he's not asking is about the logical basis of probability. You see, because probability assumes the uniformity of nature. And it remains for David Hume to question the logical basis of probability. He really does a thorough job. Okay.
On demonstration, can you give an example of what you would say you can prove by demonstration?
Mm-hmm. Mathematical theorems. That's a classic example, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, and he can't go much beyond that if he wants to be true to his empiricism. You see? Because if he's going to say you can know independently of sense experience things about the physical universe, he's not going to be an empiricist. Yeah. Dave?
Coming back to the simple ideas for a second. Are the reflections of the sensation that we receive, or are they?
Reflections can be after images, memories of original sensations. Or they can be simple ideas of our own mental activities, of thinking, doubting, hoping. Okay? So that the immediate sensation is one thing, simple idea of sensation. Your subsequent reflection on that is something different. Get that distinction? When we get to Hume, we'll see he adapts the terminology to make that distinction a little more clearly. For Hume, the immediate sensation is called an impression. And then an idea, that term, is used for your subsequent idea of the impression. But the immediate sensation is an impression. Okay? That language has other reasons for it, but it makes the distinction rather nicely. Okay, let me back up now to abstract ideas. Okay? Abstract ideas. And here we get into the question of universals. Because the term abstraction, plainly is the Aristotelian and scholastic term for the way in which we gain universal concepts. It is, in effect, where does John Locke come out on theories of universals? Now, hark back to what we were doing last semester as we got into this period. And we observed that Bacon and Hobbes are both directly influenced by the Occamist nominalism and take nominalist positions. That's to say, all we can think is particulars. We don't even have words that stand for abstract ideas, because we don't even have abstract ideas. All we have is general ideas. And so both Bacon and Hobbes are nominalists. Now, in the case of Descartes, somewhat different. Descartes' not an empiricist on the source of our ideas. He's a rationalist. There are things we know independently of experiencing particulars. So Descartes is a conceptualist. We do have abstract ideas, not just empirical generalizations. Even though Descartes did not believe that there were real universals in the Platonic or Aristotelian sense. Descartes the conceptualist. Bacon and Hobbes are nominalists. John Locke also, I think, is a conceptualist. And it seems to be the influence of Descartes here. Because John Locke is going to be taking up a mind-body dualism, like Descartes. We'll see this later on, but he agrees with Descartes. Descartes' cogito ergo sum argument, I think, therefore I exist, I'm a thinking thing, a mind, a soul, an immaterial entity. So he follows Descartes in that regard, even though he's an empiricist, as simple ideas of reflection are what lead him to that. And being a conceptualist, then, he's not going, take it back, having an immaterial mind, he's not going to be so tied to physical sensations as was Thomas Hobbes. And he thinks of the powers of the mind, the active powers of the mind, that we're aware of in reflection. And one of these mental activities, mental powers we're aware of, is the power of abstraction. You see? And so what he's doing in the section on abstract ideas is talking about our ideas of reflection, of abstracting. You see? Now, with that in mind, turn to those two passages and take a look at them. The first one is on page 182. 182, where it's part of chapter 11 under the title of Discerning and Other Operations of the Mind, within which, talking about operations of the mind, yes, he talks about naming as one operation of the mind. At the very bottom of 181, when children have by repeated sensations got ideas fixed in their memories, they begin by degrees to learn the use of signs. That's how they learn names, words. Okay? And then the section on abstraction, the use of words being to stand as outward marks of internal ideas. Well, words are outward marks, physical signs, written or heard, seen or heard, Words are outward signs of internal ideas, ideas taken from particular things. If every particular idea that we take in should have a distinct name, names would be endless. So to prevent this, the mind makes the particular ideas to become general ideas by considering them as separate from all existence and from the circumstances of existence, separate from time, place, or anything else. So this is called abstraction. You develop abstract general ideas, whereby ideas taken from particular beings become general representations with general names, applicable to whatever exists, conformable to such abstract ideas. So we get general concepts, carried by those names, those words. And these abstract ideas, then, are what he's talking about. And in the next paragraph, Brutes Abstract Not, he makes the point that this is one of the main distinctions between humans and animals, that we have abstract ideas, we think abstractly, animals do not. They may have sense perception and so forth, but they don't think abstractly. Now, that's the one passage. The other passage is on page 192, where in Book 3 he's talking about general words again. Repeats something of what he said earlier. Notice in the middle of the second column, the end of paragraph 8, a new idea is made, not by any new addition, but only, as before, by leaving out shape and other properties, other particular properties, retaining only a body with life, sense, spontaneous motion, comprehended under the name animal. How do you get the general idea of animal? By abstracting what is essential to all animals from the particular properties of every animal. You leave aside all the particular properties and think in abstraction just of what is essential to being an animal. That is to say, a body with life, sense, spontaneous motion. That's the essence of an animal. And on 192, then, he goes on, top of the page, of the complex ideas signified by the names man and horse, leaving out particulars in which they differ, retaining only those wherein they agree. Those making a new complex idea, giving the name animal to it, one has a more general term. Leave out the idea of animal, sense and spontaneous motion, remaining complex idea, so forth, becomes a more general one under the more comprehensive category too, vivens, living things. Notice how he's playing with the Aristotelian things. Humans are rational animals, what's an animal? Animals are living things, what's a living thing? You see the larger and larger universal categories. Until he gets to the end of that paragraph to conclude this whole mystery of genera and species, the Aristotelian classification, this whole mystery of genera and species, which makes such a noise in the schools, the scholastics, with justice so little regarded out of them, is nothing else but abstract ideas with names annexed to them. And if you look across the page at 193, you see a section entitled Abstract Ideas of the Essences of Genera and Species. And he points out at the end of that section that essences of the sorts of things, and consequently the sorting of things, is the workmanship of the understanding that abstracts and makes general ideas. So what are essences? Well, they're not real forms of a transcendent sort, as in Plato. They're not real metaphysical entities, as in Plato and Aristotle. Essences are those common and recurrent qualities essential to all members of a class, conceived of abstractly, in abstraction from all particular properties, in our abstract ideas and referred to by abstract terms. Okay? Conceptualism. Now, watch this, because it's his conceptualism that makes it possible for him to talk of things like mind, spirit, causal power, because some of these complex ideas are abstract ideas. Now, when you get to Hume, you'll find Hume is a nominalist. All of our terms have to be referred to particular ideas. Nominalism. And so because Hume is a nominalist, he rejects conceptions of matter and mind as substances, and of causal power, and of infinite space or infinite time. You see? Now, not only Hume, we'll find it next week when we get to George Berkeley, who's sort of a halfway house to Hume. Berkeley, too, is a nominalist, as distinct from a conceptualist. So the old problem of universals is going to play a crucial role in this 18th century debate. Okay, anything there? Yeah.
Well, in the simple ideas, one of them is the reflection, or what we were talking about, kind of the sixth sense almost.
Yeah.
It seems like that shouldn't be classified with the others, the other five, because the way he describes it, it seems like the others are logically
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I'm not sure it's fair to say he classifies it with the other five. He's saying we have two different kinds of simple ideas, because we have two kinds of sense. We have outer sense and inner sense. You see? In as much as it's inner sense, it's not classified with the five. They're outer sense. But it's still a source of simple ideas.
But that inner sense is dependent on the outer sense.
Well, it is for the simple sensory ideas on which we reflect, but it's not dependent on the outer sense for our reflective awareness of our own mental activities.
Well, in a sense, it's just from a way you describe it, seems like Hume says it is, because it's like, well, what can I hope in if I don't have, I mean, okay, shutting out all prior sense perception.
Yes.
What can I hope in if there's nothing to hope, what can I perceive?
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, if there had been no sensations of an external sort, would I be aware of my own thinking?
Or think it all in a sense almost.
Yeah. If there were no sensations of an external sort about particular properties of supposedly particular things, would I be developing abstract ideas? Would I be aware of my own abstracting? Yeah, I think you can ask that question. I'm not sure that he answers it. He might, I suppose he might well say that there are mental activities which are independent thereof. I've had problems with that. I'm inclined to think we're such integral psychophysical beings that it's the physical and sensory interaction with the world which awakes self-awareness within us. So I think that the hypothesis which somebody proposed in that day of a person who has all his life been encased in a coat of stone so that none of the senses have any contact with the world, and then is animated, would have no experience at all, would have no consciousness at all. But it's only as the stone is chipped away, say from the eyes, that consciousness begins to arise. There was a Frenchman, the Baron de Condillac, who constructed that hypothesis. I think there's something to be said for that. Not for Condillac's reasons, he was a materialist, but simply because of the way in which our psychosomatic unity functions. But that's one question. Would reflection have anything to reflect on if there had been no initial sensory input? That's one question. The origination question. The other question, though, is, here I am, a functioning human being. Do I have anything to reflect on other than sensations? Yes! Yes, I have all sorts of ideas, abstract ideas, general ideas, and my own mental activities to reflect on. Enough to keep me busy, quite apart from new sensations. So, in that sense, right.
Well, I thought you were saying from reflection sensation. Reflection now is the ability to give us complex ideas. New scenario.
Yeah.
You would know better.
Yeah, that's only one function of reflection.
Yeah, and the other part of reflection would be like when the mind being grasp itself.
Self-awareness, self-consciousness. Yeah. Basically.
If there was no sensation, then there would still be mind. There would still be reflection.
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point, yes. Reflection means basically introspective awareness. You see, but there's all sorts of things going on in introspective awareness. You asked me yesterday in the office, wasn't it, whether what he means by reflection is abstraction. I said no. No, my reflective awareness includes awareness of abstracting. But in that sense, abstracting is a mental activity that isn't just reflection. You see, it's an active kind of thinking of which I am reflectively aware. In that case, reflection is, let me say, here am I abstracting. And there's a background of self-consciousness about it as it turns in on the abstracting process. It's sort of a reflexive activity involved in reflection. Reflection, reflexive, you see the two words it cognates. All right, a couple more comments about knowledge and belief. I said that knowledge of the third kind, sensation, admits only a probability. This as opinion, belief, those terms are kosher, distinguishing, as in Plato's divided line, between knowledge and opinion, knowledge and belief. What is it that contributes to probability? What contributes to probability? Well, two things, basically. One is the consistency of what I believe with my experience, with other things I know. That is to say, there can be beliefs which are contradicted by other beliefs or knowledge based on experience. So there's a matter of overall consistency, coherence. Secondly, the testimony of others. He admits as contributing to belief, probability of belief, testimony of others. And obviously this would be the case if we're talking about places distant, where what you believe about those places depends largely on the testimony of others. This would be the case with things that you read, where what you learn depends on the testimony of those who wrote, the testimony of others. That notion of the testimony of others begins to play a role in empiricism and in the whole matter of evidence for obvious reasons. Any one individual's experience is very, very limited. And it's perfectly obvious that all of us, by virtue of the very small scope of individual experience we have, that all of us develop beliefs that do depend greatly, draw on the experience of others. That's true in the sciences, it's true in everyday life, and so it's recognized once empiricism begins to develop. But once again, David Hume has some things to say about the credibility of witnesses whose testimony we draw on. And we'll see what he has to say about that subsequently. All right, one other comment about knowledge and belief. In response to Esther's question about how do we know that the things we come to believe are true, the simplest response that Locke would give would be simply the term evidence. There is evidence. And in contemporary epistemology, Locke is known as an evidentialist. In fact, he's sort of the paradigm case of an evidentialist. The way he puts it is this, and it's on page 201, and it's so